Good evening and welcome to We Lie to You News. Tonight's top story, Israel versus Palestine. We'll be shaping your thinking to help it make sense to you why many on the left are actively cheering on terrorists who are murdering innocent civilians, including babies, which also includes cutting the heads off of babies, kidnapping children, and burning people alive. We have our work cut out for us tonight. But before we get to why the side that's always accusing you of being an anti-Semite, the left, is cheering on the murder of innocent Jews, first we'll cover the funding of these deadly terrorist attacks. It takes a lot of money to fund terrorists so they can buy missiles to bomb Israelis, planes so paratroopers can drop in and murder civilians at festivals, and guns so they can go door to door to shoot babies, children, women, and men. So where did that money come from? Well, probably just out of thin air. But where we know the money didn't come from was Biden, who unfroze $6 billion, giving it to Iran. Irrelevant side note, Iran is the country that Hamas credited for funding them and their attacks. The Babylon Bee reports that the White House claims the $6 billion to Iran is not related to the exactly $6 billion worth of rockets being fired into Israel. And that's irrefutably true, because on September 11th, of all days, when Biden announced he gave Iran $6 billion, what could go wrong with that? He reassured Americans that no harm would come from it. Thank you for your word, Joe. Because he told Iran that $6 billion was for humanitarian purposes only. You want to blow up Israel and murder its citizens? Okay, well here's $6 billion. Just don't use it for that. Biden's was an ironclad strategy, just as effective as Hunter videotaping himself doing drugs and banging prostitutes to ensure that he doesn't get caught doing drugs and banging prostitutes. Biden's move to give a terrorist state $6 billion was like a teenager saying to his parents, "Hey, I'm going to the liquor store. Can I have some money?" Yes, just don't buy any alcohol. However, in a shocking revelation with Iran and Hamas, somehow the teenager did end up buying alcohol. But nobody could have possibly predicted that would happen. Nobody except for one man. A man that we still tell you is a Russian asset. President Trump. Back in September, in response to Biden giving Iran a truckload of money, President Trump released the following statement on Truth Social. Can you believe that crooked Joe Biden is giving $6 billion to the terrorist regime in Iran? That money will be used for terrorism all over the Middle East, and indeed the world. That's preposterous. We at the media can confidently say that Trump is wrong, even though he's correct. I think I have head lice. Is that still a thing? I think I have lice in my scalp. Conservative political commentator Jack Posobiec weighed in by saying, "I said recently the neocons would start World War III to cancel the 2024 election. How's that prediction looking right now?" Well, Jack, not looking too good, you moron. Because for neocons to start World War III, they would have to fund a terrorist organization to commit savage, atrocious acts on innocent civilians that would cause that country to mount an enormous military response while garnering the support of people around the world, which would then usher in the public support necessary for World War III. This just in! Oh yeah, that's what's happening. Question for you. If this Jack guy was on the roof and couldn't get down, would you help Jack off? A lot of people are dying. Wow. And in other news about the same news, as we've programmed you to think, the left here in America is the all-loving humanitarian focus, accept all people as equals group that loves to label you as an anti-Semite if your shoes are untied. And in the spirit of 1984, we're seeing a rather large amount of support from the left for Hamas and Palestine while cheering on the murders of innocent Jews in Israel. In response to their support, far-right extremist Chad Prather suggests, if you stand with Palestine, go stand in Palestine. Kinda like to see that. Fair enough. But why is the left so anti-Jew and pro-terrorists who are brutally murdering women and children? One might think it's because they're brainwashed into doing the bidding of evil without even knowing it, and this is very much in line with that. But we can confidently tell you it's probably something else. Moving along. BLM has publicly come out supporting the Palestinian terrorists Hamas with their post of a drawing depicting one of the paratroopers that dropped in to murder innocent festival goers that says, "I stand with Palestine." Make it make sense. Well, Turning Point USA made BLM's post make sense by pointing out, terrorists stand with terrorists. That's true. But for God's sakes, could we just please stop labeling them as terrorists? It makes us look bad when we're supporting bad people doing evil things. This just in! The Canadian Broadcasting Company tells journalists to not call Hamas terrorists. Oh, cool. I guess we're already doing that. Calling evil evil is counterproductive for the spread of it. But it gets better, because the plot of hate and hypocrisy of the left thickens like a Pfizer blood clot, because synonymous with the left is the LGBTQ movement. People are thoroughly amused, while being terrified, seeing LGBTQ support the incredibly non-terrorist Hamas in Palestine while denouncing Israel. Even one of the political faces of the LGBTQ and mental institutions, Representative Rashida Tlaib, has a Palestinian flag outside of her office. She's a fine woman, that one. Given the fact that there are no LGBTQ rights in Palestine, yet there are in Israel, why does the LGBTQ organization stand with a terrorist regime that hates them, while standing against a country full of innocent people that accepts them? Well, after deep psychological analysis, experts suggest it's because they're morons. Accordingly, with regard to Rashida Tlaib having the Palestine flag outside of her office next to her pride flag, the Babylon Bee reports the Palestinian flag outside Rashida Tlaib's office seen throwing pride flag off the roof. That's a joke, people. That's a joke. But what's not a joke is that they do throw LGBTQ people off of rooftops in Palestine. That part is not a joke, and that's why Rashida Tlaib is a joke. A human on the internet points out, queers for Palestine makes as much sense as chickens for KFC. That's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when you don't do your own thinking. Which is great, because we've got an agenda that we need to use you for, so keep up the great support. Let's hear more about the loving geniuses on the left supporting the violent savagery on Israelis. Well, the Babylon Bee once again reports that Harvard student leaves lecture on microaggressions to attend Kill the Jews rally. And here's a photo of liberals at an actual Kill the Jews rally in New York City. If you don't stand with Palestine, you're an anti-Semite. Oh, and one of these liberals is holding up a swastika. So you better attend the next pro-Palestine rally in your neighborhood, or else you're an anti-Semite. As we're shoving war, hate, and crimes against humanity in your face, the architect points out, someone needs to keep an eye on Bill Gates while we're all being distracted. That's probably actually a good idea. And lastly, Israelis, a previously disarmed people, were left defenseless when Hamas terrorists were breaking into their homes to kidnap, rape, and murder. And in response, Israel is now arming as many citizens as possible, reversing their strict gun control regulations. And that just goes to show you that we need to ban guns here in the US, because what's happening in Israel could never happen here. Because with a wide open border that any terrorist could just cross, and probably have, form sleeper cells that could mount atrocious terrorist attacks on US citizens in their own homes, that could never happen here. So it's just more evidence that we should abolish the Second Amendment. That's it for tonight's news. The Biden administration has definitely not funded Hamas because they were told not to use the money that they were given to use. The left has shown their true colors, so much so that the rainbow flag will soon be redesigned to just be blood red, and you're being encouraged to forget your humanity and cheer on the beginning of World War III. Which already started by you standing with Ukraine. All a great lesson that reminds you to never do your own thinking. That would be dangerous. Turn in your guns and turn on the news. Here we are. Good night. I took my pants off for this important message because I want to tell you about the best underwear on the planet, Sheath underwear. Sheath makes the most comfortable boxer briefs I've ever worn. If you're sick and tired of boxers that are too loose, or briefs that are too tight, or have poop stains that make you look like you live on the streets of San Francisco, then Sheath is for you. Sheath are made out of stretchy fabric and have moisture-wicking technology that keeps everything cool and comfortable. And unlike regular underwear that tends to make you look sexually repulsive, Sheath will make you look good. This is my butt, which brings me to another unique feature that's only found with Sheath underwear. They use a dual pouch system. So instead of having your man parts stuck together in uncomfortable ways, the dual pouch system gives you the ability to keep your man parts separated. I used to never care about the underwear I wore, yet I was always uncomfortable and I was a degenerate for it. But Sheath changed me. I am now in a strictly monogamous relationship with Sheath. And if you want to bring the most comfortable underwear on the planet to your crotchal region, then just go to sheathunderwear.com/awaken. And while you're there, use the discount code AWAKEN for 20% off your first order. Enjoy. Hey there, my freedom-loving friend. Got a quick favor to ask. Currently, my YouTube channel is going through a massive shadow ban suppression. So if you'd like to help support me, please make sure to like this video, turn on your notifications so you see all my videos, even though they're being suppressed, and make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Thank you for the support.